Why are you so anxious all the time? It's the question that haunts you in the quiet hours. The one you pretend doesn't matter when you're busy, when you're scrolling, working, running from one obligation to the next. But then the night comes, the lights go out, and the hum of the world fades. That's when it creeps in, the tightness in your chest, the dread coiled beneath your ribs, the questions that scratch at the back of your skull until you want to scream. You feel it in the supermarket line, waiting for your turn, heart racing like you're about to be attacked. You feel it in the silence between texts, the cold absence that makes your mind spiral into catastrophes. You feel it every morning when you wake up, and the weight in your stomach makes you wonder, will this be the day it finally crushes you? Why are you so afraid when nothing is actually chasing you? It doesn't make sense, does it? You have a roof over your head, maybe food on your table, people who tell you they care. On paper, you're safer than anyone in human history. No wolves at the door, no sword above your neck, and yet your body behaves as if you're on the edge of the abyss. Your thoughts circle like vultures over a dying thing you can't name. What if you're not broken? What if this anxiety isn't a flaw but a clue? What if the world you're forced to endure, this buzzing digital hive of attention traps, half-truths, endless comparisons, was never built for a human soul to survive? What if your anxiety is not the sickness, but the symptom? Look closer. You learned to be afraid of silence. You learned that stillness means danger. You learned to watch every word, every facial twitch, every shift in tone, because once, somewhere, somehow, someone taught you that peace is the prelude to disaster. And maybe the world you inhabit is built on that fear too. Maybe your anxiety isn't madness, it's the scream of something deep inside you, begging you to see the truth you've been taught to ignore. So here's the great question, the one you've never dared to ask. What if your anxiety is trying to save you? You've been told your anxiety is a malfunction, some genetic glitch in your brain, chemistry, a disorder you have to meditate, or meditate away. But what if that story is incomplete? What if the roots run deeper than neurochemicals and inherited predispositions into the very soil of the world you were raised in? From your earliest days, you learned what was acceptable and what wasn't. Maybe you grew up under the cold gaze of parents who only praised perfection, who measured your worth by your performance, your politeness, your ability to keep the peace. Maybe you learned that love is conditional, that belonging is earned, that safety is a brittle thing that can shatter at the smallest crack. Your nervous system learned this before you even had words for it. It became the hum beneath your thoughts, the pulse beneath your skin. Every glance, every sigh, every angry silence built the hidden code you now carry into every room. I must be careful. I must be good. I must control everything, or something terrible will happen. Philosophers have wrestled with this for centuries. Kierkegaard called it the dizziness of freedom, the terror that rises when you glimpse the endless void of possibility, the crushing responsibility of choice. Nietzsche saw the sickness of modern humans as a product of disconnection from instinct, from wildness, from the primal self we've buried under layers of polite society and moral expectation. But you feel it in your bones. Every time you try to relax, there's a voice in your head whispering, you're not safe. When you sit still, 1,000 unfinished tasks haunt you like ghosts. When you dare to rest, the guilt is a knife in your ribs. Modern culture doesn't help. You're bombarded by images of perfection, smiling faces that never falter, curated feeds that remind you of everything you're not, voices that demand more and more and more until you believe that stillness itself is a kind of failure. And so the hidden problem festers, the constant low-level hum of threat, the sense that you're always a single mistake away from ruin. But here's the bitter truth. The source of your anxiety isn't just inside you. It's woven into the structures of a world that profits from your fear. Advertisers who sell you solutions to problems they created. Social media platforms that manipulate your insecurities for clicks. Institutions that thrive on keeping you small, compliant, and quietly miserable. Your anxiety isn't irrational. It's a rational response to a culture that demands endless vigilance, constant productivity, and unwavering conformity. You're not failing, you're reacting, and that reaction, painful as it is, might just be the most human part of you. Your anxiety is not just an invisible torment, it's a quiet, corrosive force that bleeds into every part of your life. It shapes the way you speak, the way you love, the way you look at the world. You think it's contained, that you can hide it behind forced smiles, polite laughter, a well-rehearsed mask of normalcy. But beneath the surface, it seeps into your choices. It pushes you to avoid opportunities that might expose you. It keeps you locked in relationships that drain you, too afraid to break the pattern, too terrified of being alone. You say yes when you want to scream no. You work late into the night not because you love the grind, but because something inside tells you rest is dangerous. That the moment you stop running, the monsters will catch you. It shows up in your body: tight shoulders, clenched jaw, racing heart. You call it tension, stress, being busy, but your nervous system calls it survival. And when you do try to speak it, the world shrugs. You're too sensitive, they say, just relax. But the words don't soothe you, they isolate you further, convincing you that something must truly be broken inside. You start to believe the voice that says you're weak. You push yourself harder, perform better, smile wider, all while the darkness coils tighter in your gut, feeding on your frantic attempts to outrun it. Left unchecked, this anxiety becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You become hyper-aware, scanning every environment for threat, even when there is none. Your brain, wired for survival, fires signals that make you suspicious, jumpy, exhausted. It kills your joy. You find yourself unable to fully breathe in good moments, too busy anticipating when they will be snatched away. You distrust calm, seeing it as the lull before disaster. And perhaps the worst consequence, it robs you of connection. You hold people at arm's length, terrified they will discover the chaos inside you. You hide your true fears, your truest self, believing it's too much, too heavy, too fragile to be held by anyone else. You begin to build a life around your anxiety, a life that is smaller, safer, quieter, and in doing so, you trade away the very thing you long for: freedom. But what if this isn't how it has to be? What if the anxiety that keeps you prisoner is also the signal flare, pointing the way out of the burning building? Anxiety thrives in the shadows, thrives in secrecy, thrives in the stories you tell yourself about being fragile, broken, unworthy of peace. It feeds on your silence, but rebellion begins the moment you choose to turn toward the thing you fear most, your own trembling heart. It begins when you ask, what am I running from? What part of me have I abandoned in my desperate quest to keep the world happy, to keep myself safe? You break free when you stop treating anxiety as the enemy and start listening to what it is actually trying to say. Beneath the panic, beneath the tightness, beneath the dread, there is often a tiny voice screaming, you're not living in alignment with your truth. Maybe your job is killing your spirit. Maybe the relationships you cling to are built on old wounds. Maybe the persona you present to the world is a cage you crafted to survive a childhood that demanded obedience. Your anxiety is the alarm bell, and when you stop numbing it, when you stop blaming yourself for it, it becomes your compass. This rebellion isn't easy. It asks you to disappoint people. It asks you to say no, to walk away, to risk being seen as difficult, selfish, ungrateful. It asks you to stop contorting yourself into someone else's idea of acceptable. It asks you to stand in the fire of discomfort, the one you've spent your life avoiding. And paradoxically, that is where the healing begins, because anxiety is often the body's way of screaming, stop pretending. It wants your authenticity. It wants your wholeness. It wants you to stop trying to fit in and start trying to be real. Every act of truth-telling is a small rebellion. Every boundary you set, every time you say, this is enough, every moment you rest even when the guilt knows at you. This is how you break the spell. And when you stop running, something shifts. The monster shrinks. The dread softens. You learn that you can sit with the fear, feel it fully, and still live. And you begin to glimpse something new on the horizon. A life not ruled by anxiety, but guided by a deeper kind of inner knowing. The rebellion is not about destroying your fear. It's about transforming your relationship to it. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you once locked away to keep others comfortable. It's about remembering that you were never meant to live a life of constant vigilance, forever afraid of your own heartbeat. It's about stepping, slowly trembling, but awake into freedom. The ultimate truth is this: you are not broken. You are not defective. Your anxiety is not proof of your weakness, it is proof of your humanity. You were born into a world that demands your obedience, that rewards your compliance, that teaches you to measure your worth by how well you silence your own needs. It tells you to be productive instead of present, agreeable instead of authentic, quiet instead of honest. But beneath all that conditioning, there is something deeper part of you untouched by fear, a flame that refuses to die. It is the part of you that remembers who you were before you learned to hide, the part that aches to breathe freely, to speak boldly, to live without the constant undercurrent of dread. Healing doesn't mean erasing your anxiety. It means honoring it as the messenger it has always been. It means learning to pause when the old panic rises, to breathe into it, to ask it gently, "What is it you want me to know?" It means choosing again and again to live according to your own values, not the ones imposed on you by a fearful world. It means understanding that rest is not laziness, that joy is not frivolous, that saying no is not cruelty. It means recognizing that your freedom was never meant to be earned by suffering. It was your birthright all along. So, if you want to begin this journey, if you want to stop running and start living, remember this: every moment is an invitation. Every anxious spiral is a door you can choose to walk through into the raw truth of yourself. You don't need permission to heal. You don't need to prove you deserve peace. You just need to take the first step right now. If you found something in these words that resonates, if you're ready to explore the deeper roots of your anxiety, share this with someone you trust. Start the conversation. Let the truth echo out of the darkness. And if you want to go deeper into the hidden places of your own psyche, the patterns you can't yet see, stay here. We're building a community of souls who refuse to suffer in silence, who choose awareness over numbness, freedom over fear. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and let this be the beginning of your rebellion against the anxiety that has ruled you for too long. Because you deserve more than survival. You deserve to breathe, to rest, to live fully, wildly, freely. Your anxiety was the cry for help. This is your answer.